What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 126 of Value Town. I'm ChanManV, and joining me today are Allie and Jackie. What's up, guys?
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually in Germany at the moment. I'm playing in Seed Story. It starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not in my usual location, but still set up and ready to go. So yeah, I'm good. How about you guys?
I'm exhausted. I just got back from a long trip in Vegas, so my sleep schedule is totally messed up. So I'm exhausted, but I'm good.
So how many days were you guys there?
I left Thursday and we got back last night. So yeah, it was like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty good. That's a long time in Vegas, especially at EDC. Yeah, I just got back from E3, or I didn't just get back. I got back from E3 on Friday night, so I've been back for a few days.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Yeah, how was that?
All about E3.
Oh, E3? So it was my first time at E3. It was I wasn't there for very long, but from just the time I spent there, it was definitely a lot of fun. We did Streamer Showdown on the Twitch stage, which ended up being really, really good and super hilarious. So that actually ended up going well. And then I was able to catch some of the booths. We just walked the booths. I didn't get a chance to play too many games because the lines were super long. But I was able to see, obviously a lot of you just at least watch, people play it. And Overwatch had an event too where they were revealing some of the teams. So I went to go check that out. But
cool.
But overall, E3 was great. It felt like a bigger PAX. If you've ever been to like PAX East, it's like a bigger version of that.
Oh, okay. No, I've never been to any, but
yeah, no,
good.
Never mind.
Yeah,
I've heard the lines for those things are insane though. Like you wait 5 hours to play a game or something. Like it seems like a lot of fun.
5 hours.
It's crazy, man.
Wow.
Some people are just extremely, extremely gung ho about being the first people to, get a chance to hop on some of the new games that they announce. But I mean, there's probably some games I would do that. I don't think any of the games they announced were anything that I would go nuts about, even though some of them are pretty cool. How was EDC though, Allie? Like I was watching it on Twitch.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was being streamed on Twitch until I was there, and I was like, oh, that's so epic. But yeah, no, it was great. It was great. My it starts at like 8 at night and goes until 6 in the morning or something. So like I said, my sleep schedule is definitely messed up. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely a good week. I didn't get a chance to play as much Hearthstone in that time as I would have liked. But saw some great artists and had a good time with my friends. So yeah, it was definitely a nice little vacation for me. So
who was your favorite DJ?
Porter Robinson.
Okay,
Ever heard of him? Yeah. I love Porter. Porter was great, and Rez. She's like a new girl DJ on the scene. Her name's Rez. You have to check her out. Yeah,
new grill PogChamp.
New grill. Exactly. And she was fantastic. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So with EDC, do people stay at hotels like in like downtown Vegas, or is it literally like camping out there? Because I know it's out on just the desert, right? Or just out in open ground.
It's at the Motor Speedway. It's like smack dab in the middle of the desert. We stayed on the Strip, and most people do. And because of that, it can take like 2 hours to get there. Yeah. We missed half of our like Friday for the most part because we arrived so late after midnight. But yeah, you usually stay out on the Strip and make the commute there.
Did you get any funnel cakes?
No, I didn't get any funnel cakes.
It's a carnival after all, right?
Oh man, that just reminded me of Refreshment Vendor. I feel like I haven't played that card in so long because Reno is out. Sorry, just made me.
What is a funnel cake?
I don't know.
Do you not know what a funnel cake is?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, funnel cakes. So you know what a funnel cake is, right, Allie? Okay. Yeah,
so that's an American thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably no. I don't think so. I think it's probably. I would think it'd be a European thing actually because it looks like strudel a little bit. Like maybe not.
Fair food.
Yeah, it's fair food. So it's just fried. Like it's like a donut that they just pour randomly into like a fryer, just the batter, and it ends up being these kind of weird shapes. And then once you pull it out of the oil, you just put like sugar, powdered sugar, and
It's so
whatever
bad
want
for
on it.
you.
It's
Just
terrible.
put it like that.
Great.
It's like
great.
oil fried carbs with powdered sugar on top.
It's a
So,
donut,
no,
man.
It's a
That's pretty
donut.
much what it is. No, but it's your typical carnival fare food.
Yeah.
That's where they got it from. I don't think funnel cakes in World of Warcraft and Hearthstone are the same thing, but
Probably not.
but at least in real life, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But okay, guys. Well, we got quite a bit of stuff to talk about today. Of course, I think Jackie and I probably got a chance to play a bit more Hearthstone than Allie, so we'll
Yes.
talk about maybe some of the decks that we've been playing and things like that. And then we got a segment about underrated cards. I figured we would, kind of spotlight maybe a couple of the cards that maybe we've discovered recently have been better than we, or maybe we forgot how good they were, and that sort of thing. Topic of the week, there's a good discussion over dropping viewership in Hearthstone and why, and is it really true, and just all that good stuff. So we'll spend some time giving our opinions on that. And the Mekkatorque's Workshop's back again. We've got, I think we've got 4 or 5 cards to discuss. A couple from patrons and fans, of course, and then we each have one to present to you guys. And then lastly, Q&A. We've got a couple questions from the fans and audience or whatever. You guys can email your questions to valuetown@chanmanv.tv, and we'll try to get to them. We probably won't get to them this week since we've already picked them, but next week for sure. We'll definitely give a look to them. Okay, our week in Hearthstone. So Jackie, what you been doing this week? You been ranking up or just memeing out this week?
I've been because I'm at Seed Story tomorrow. I've been, and I don't attend that many tournaments.
Yeah.
So I've been really tryharding, like super preparing really hard and trying loads of stuff out to try and, because obviously I like to bring something a bit different and try and surprise people.
Of course.
And, do
Wacky
something
Jackie.
unique.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
So been trying loads of crazy stuff out and trying to come up with something that works. And I've been getting like no sleep. I've been like playing so much Hearthstone. I'm actually I've had like no sleep all week. But I'm happy with my lineup. And
Okay, all right.
Hopefully it will work. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, obviously.
Yeah.
What? You're not going to spoil him on here and tell all your
Next
opponents what
week.
you're playing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
we can talk about it next week. But,
Who have you been
but
practicing
yeah,
with?
I'm just super hyped for it at this point. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Who have you been practicing with? Just teammates? Or-
Yeah, teammates and a couple of my mods on my stream, and a
Okay.
lot of my own.
Well,
But yeah, I'm actually in the first group tomorrow, and in my group is Frodan, Orange, and Talk.
Oh man.
Oh.
Okay, that's an
And
interesting
Talk,
group.
I mean, Orange has just run Dreamhack. But yeah, it should be fun.
well, Seed Story's been good to you in the past, so Frodian's done pretty well too at Seed Story, so it's gonna be a fun group. All the pressure's on Orange.
Yeah. And because he's played in Dreamhack, I kind of, maybe know what his lineup could be.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
an
true.
advantage.
That's true.
Idea, because Dreamhack's last row
Yeah,
standing
that's
as well,
true.
and Seed Story's last row standing too. I mean, he might not bought the exact same thing, but if he'd won the tournament, I wouldn't expect it to be that much different. So.
I'd agree. We're about to talk about his lineup too, so in case you didn't look closely at it, you can look super closely on the show. Okay, so that's cool. Any kind of interesting decks you've been trying out this week outside of getting your lineups ready?
I've got my lineup, and then I've got one deck.
Okay, cool.
We can talk about in a minute.
Right. We can talk about it
Hunter
now.
list that's
Just bring it up.
quite interesting.
Just-
Yeah,
we'll-
yeah. I mean, I've been playing quite a lot of Hunter, and I feel like Hunter is one of the most unexplored classes right now. It's very kind
Really?
of one-dimensional.
Okay.
Because in Hunter right now you have to be very one-dimensional. It's just like put stuff on the board and then kill them, and there's no reactive tools. There's no it's either you play secrets or you just like play some minions and then kill command and burn them to death, like finishing like a high main or something. But I was actually trying like a token hunter list and using some of the like death rattle synergies and Terra Scale Stalker, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
I actually really love that card. I think that card's great. So
Wow.
I'm kind of trying to use that and Cult Master together, and it actually worked pretty well. Yeah, it was actually pretty decent.
I gotta remind myself what
I know, I have to remind
Scale
it.
Stalker actually is.
Same. I'm just looking it up now. I was like, wow, I don't actually remember.
Yeah, so three mana,
Oh,
three
yeah.
that Battle Cry activate one of your friendly minions' death rattles. So if you have a death rattle on the board, you use it on that, and it pops it. And so obviously you have like Rat Pack, you have Infested Wolf, you have Candy Grandmother, which are all great. I've also got Egg Napper in this list.
Nice.
It's another thing you can use it on. And this list is really, really fun, man. It's great.
So when you win, you barely win, right? Like, because there's no explosive kill commands and things like that, right?
Yeah, not really. I mean, you have like Hyena, which can get really big really quickly. And it's, to be honest, it is mostly about getting stuff on the board early, and then you can really abuse the Cult Master, and you can easily get like 3-4 draws out of it, and then that can completely just make up for not having kill commands or not having bursty or strong finishing cards like Highmane. Because that's one of Hunter's main weaknesses is card draw, and having that access to a potential lot of card draw makes a big difference.
Okay. Yeah, this is definitely interesting. Just a lot of chipping, and then eventually, maybe even getting that giant Scavenging Hyena. I feel like Hunters, like 20% of the game or 10% of the games are just, let's try to get the biggest Scavenging Hyena possible on a single turn, and then just win the game.
Yeah. I mean, you say there's no big minions, but Jeweled Makor always give you Ultrasaur anyway, so.
Oh, true. That's true. Yeah. That's very, very true. No, this is cool. I like this. This is definitely a different take on Hunter. Even, there's a lot of similar cards, but it's a completely different take on it. So, very, very neat. You love that Egg Napper, though, man.
I found it really weird because when it first came out, I was like, yeah, this card it looks decent, but would I really play it in any deck? Probably not. But in a lot of like tokeny decks, it's actually like, because at first I was comparing it to like Mounted Raptor, the 3/2 Druid beast.
Yeah.
That had Death Rattle, summon a 1-drop. And that like saw a little bit of play, but not really that much. And I kind of considered it to be worse than that because it had 1 health instead of 2. But just the fact that you can play it in a variety of classes, like Egg Napper's a solid card. And the fact that the 1/1s are beasts as well makes a big difference. So like in Druid and Hunter, for example.
Yeah.
But I like it.
All right. Cool. Yeah, definitely guys try this out. It seems to be a very good tempo aggressive type of deck, and if you're looking for that or you're struggling against those grueling control decks that seem to be doing really, really well right now, this could be super good for you. Speaking of control decks, I ended up playing a N'Zoth Pally that I just got from Orange, to be honest. Like, Orange played this during DreamHack, and I hadn't played the N'Zoth Paladin even when people were playing it during events like a month ago. So I finally decided, okay, I'm going to play this. Rallying Blade was obviously something that I've been thinking about recently too, and maybe we even talked about it a little bit last week. And decided to play this. It feels like a great time to play this deck right now, at least where I've been. I've been just kind of like rank 5-ish, and as you're probably going to make the push at the end here, but just kind of diddle-daddly, just kind of around that rank 10 to rank 5. And then getting rank, just up with this deck seemed to be a very, very good place. Because I played a ton of control decks, like lots and lots of them. And then this deck seemed to perform fine against even Warrior, which surprised me in a lot of cases. I mean, it's not great, but it's not horrible either. So ended up winning quite a bit. Like there are definitely a few matches that I was losing playing Priest, just like Control Priest. That this deck had just more resources, more defensive tools that I was able to kind of eke out those wins. So kind of interesting, different takes on control decks. I think there's a lot of them right now. It's kind of a good time if you like to play control decks. But this one is pretty good.
Do you think that this version is stronger than like just a normal control paladin list? Because I've played both on ladder before, and I find like on ladder I personally have more success with the non-N'Zoth version, but I feel like the N'Zoth version is really good at tournaments. I haven't tried it recently though, so I'm not sure which one I think is stronger, but I was just curious if you felt a certain way.
That was my impression too. I was going into it thinking, okay, I'm probably just going to win like 50% of my games, but I just want to just get a sense, to get a feel for what it's like. And I was winning like 65% of my games with it, beating mages just because, just Paladin and the heals, right? Of course. Mages are quite popular right now. And then I was even eking out some wins against Jade Druid, you know, which was,
Wow.
was like, I know
Really?
Jade Druid's like, you know, isn't being played like a ton, I wouldn't say, but I was definitely winning some of those, and even the priest ones, you know, things like, you know, Tarum is just great, you know, against any kind of buffed minions. And priest right now, they just try to get up to like 6 health or 7 health on a minion, and then all of a sudden they just have control of the game, right? So definitely the Paladin has tools to deal with that, which is really nice. And those were the most popular classes I played. I still get some quest warrior from time to time, but those were the most popular.
Nice. There was actually a lot of N'Zoth Paladin in the recent Dreamhack. Yeah. And there was one game that was like actually insane. Like, you know, you were just saying about this deck beating Jade Druid. Yeah. It was literally I can't remember who was playing, but they were playing. It was N'Zoth Paladin against Jade Druid, and it was such a good game to watch. Like, it was like, a lot of people talk about sometimes like watching tournaments being like really predictable and kind of just like monotonous, but like this series was like one of the best series I've ever seen. It was really really exciting to watch. And like the N'Zoth Paladin, just like, it was the closest game ever, but he got like 4 Tyrions or something.
Oh my god!
Just about managed to beat the Jade Druid. Like, it was completely insane. There was a Yogg in there as well somewhere.
Oh
like,
my
it was just
god!
like a completely insane game, but it was.
And the Jades
were up to like the Jades were up to like 15, 16. Like, it was such a bonkers game. But it was really really.
It was one of the last matches. I want to watch
it back.
Right? It wasn't. Yeah, it was one of the late matches, I believe.
It was, yeah. But it's a really cool deck to play that could actually surprise you in some of the matchups it can actually win. Another reason it's become popular, I think, is because Token Shaman has become really popular. Like, that's arguably the most popular deck right now. Yeah. And so just control decks with a lot of AoE are becoming kind of more prominent, I think.
Yeah, definitely. When I was playing Priest is during the time that I was hitting a ton of Shaman. So I was just making tweaks constantly, trying to deal with it. And then all of a sudden I hit this stretch where it's just like nonstop control. So that's kind of why I switched over to this. But
I find it funny how Shaman sort of went through a little bit of a rough period. Like, no one really figured out like the token thing like for a small period of time. And so now Shaman's like back, you know, back and better than ever. No, it's not really. But,
no, it's back. It's no question. It's no question.
It's definitely back.
Strong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But there were variations that were just really close to what we see now, and it's kind of funny, just a little bit of refinement. Then all of a sudden, the evolved Shaman is good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a few cards, like 4 or 5 cards that were refined, and it's suddenly good. So yeah, it's a good spot. It's a good place for Shaman. It's not overpowered, and yet it's still powerful. Good stuff. Okay, well, anyways, give that a try, guys. We'll talk about Orange's the rest of his deck in a second. We talk about his win. Actually, we could just do it now. So Orange ended up winning Dreamhack Summer, which is awesome since Orange is a friend of the show. He's been on many times. Actually, he's been on a couple times, even with Jackie, I believe. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was on once with Orange, definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe twice.
That's what I mean. I don't know. Something about you guys. I think he always calls you Yaki, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have him on because he calls him Yaki all the time.
Yaki.
Yeah, but he ended up winning. These are the decks he ended up running. So big congratulations, obviously, to Orange, and he's been doing well lately. Actually, the cams aren't working here. I'm gonna have to fix that in a second. But so he's been obviously performing really really well in a lot of the tournaments he's been in recently, and so he's gonna do for a win. These are the decks that he ran. Speaking of the Shaman that we were talking about, he ran a Evolved Shaman there.
Yeah. I think
pretty standard.
I mean, one of the interesting things about this lineup is that it's really not very aggressive at all. The Evolved Shaman is a pretty aggressive deck, but other than that, it's very slow. There's no Pyro Warrior, there's no Secret Mage, there's no Aggro Druid, there's no Hunter. It's a very control-y lineup, I'd say.
Definitely.
Yeah, which is that's been the trend, right? The last couple events, we haven't seen as many of the pros, even the pros that are renowned for running aggressive lineups, play much. I think we had Muzzy on, right? And Muzzy's famous for playing very very aggressive decks, and he just played a straight out control deck last time.
I like how he threw the Yogg and the Jade Druid.
That's what he was talking about, right? The Yogg. I think it might have been Orange that you were talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things about Yogg I think Yogg hasn't been good for a while because Yogg is since the nerf where Yogg stops doing stuff when he kills himself or polymorphs himself or stabs himself or whatever, he's basically, the more minions your opponent has on the board, the less likely Yogg is to kill itself. Therefore, the better Yogg is likely to be, kind of thing. So, and there hasn't been that many decks that really like flood the board that much. Like Pirate Warrior pretty much just goes face. Like, and same with like Aggro Druid pretty much goes face. There's only kind of like Living Mana is the one kind of broad flood type thing. But against the aggro decks, you're never really getting to turn. You're never going to get to turn 10 to play Yogg. Like Yogg is a lot better against things like Zoo. And like decks that are fairly aggressive, but like slowly build a board up and then kill you with your board. And so Yogg is actually really good against Token Shaman. And so kind of as Token Shaman has become more prominent, I think Yogg becomes better as well. So yeah, I like
it
I like
could be
Yogg.
that extra board clear, right? Since Swipe is so bad against Shaman right now.
It's so bad.
It's actually great. Like Swipe is just, I've said this for a couple of weeks actually. Like Swipe just isn't very good right now. Like, without the spell damage of a Zerdrake, so you have like no spell. Like people are actually running Wild Pyromancer for Druid for extra clears.
I've been doing it too. Yeah.
Like there's very few matchups where doing 4 damage to something and 1 damage to something actually clears a board. Hunter is the only real matchup where you can actually do that. Like it doesn't really do anything against Aggro Druid, doesn't really do anything against, well, definitely doesn't do anything against Shaman. Like it's just. Like I would even consider not running it. Like...
No, I've thought about it too. I mean, there's nothing like seeing a Things from Below and a bunch of 0/2 totems, and you're looking at a Swipe that makes you feel bad, right?
It's completely useless.
Yeah. So I know, I hear you, and that yaw can be a nice, possible board removal, right? When you need it. Some people run like Deathwing. I don't think they run Deathwing in Jade Druid necessarily, but Jade, obviously Deathwing's an option too. But yeah,
I actually really like Doomsayer in Jade Druid. I was playing against a few people, and I don't know. I think it's pretty clutch sometimes just to kind of secure the board early. I don't know. I think Doomsayer is fantastic, so I like it in Jade Druid.
Yeah, I think it works too. It's just what would you replacing something is. That's where the difficulty comes. It really just depends on what you're playing against. Yeah, but against Shaman, it's really good, right? And then the Miracle Rogue, I think, rounds out his lineup. It seems like Miracle is becoming the mainstay for the Rogue choice over Quest Rogue recently, just because Miracle has a shot against everything.
Yeah, I find that really interesting. I don't know. I feel like Quest Rogue is still really good,
especially if people are bringing control. Yeah, if people are bringing control decks, you'd think that Quest Rogue would kind of reign pretty well.
Well, Miracle's decent against control too.
It's true, yeah. It's true.
The good players, right? The good players, man, they seem to always get that 5/3. And then they get another 5/3 sometimes, depending on what cards they steal. And it can get crazy. But I think that's the logic, at least when I talk to other players, is that Miracle's obviously does well against aggro because of the backstabs and things like that. And it has a shot against control. So you always have a shot with this deck versus the Quest Rogue, which is, terrible against aggro. And
it's a lot more polarized, kind of.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Okay.
Well, anyways, that's why.
Yeah. Anyways, congratulations to Orange again, and hopefully, maybe not hopefully for Jackie. That's the story.
I was like, what? Hopefully you beat Jackie.
I'm rooting for you, Jackie.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we talk about some underrated cards that we think are maybe lurking around, or maybe some of the things that we've been playing recently we've noticed. And let me move it over to the cards here. Okay, I think the first one that I added, the first one, which is a Circle of Healing. And, we haven't really talked about Circle of Healing, or folks haven't really run Circle of Healing much. And I started playing Jackie's deck that he showed us last week, that he went 24-5 with, that Tempo Priest. And then I was just reminded of, I don't know, I'd had flashbacks from the beta, like with Amaz and drawing all kinds of crazy combos with Pyros and things like that, right? And I just had that kind of flashback with that type of play, with Priest, and able to just continue, just never have endless amounts of cards and just continue to put pressure that way, right? And I just forgot how good Circle Healing is, even without Alkanai Soul Priest. It also works with Lyra, and it can work well with Pyromancer too, of course. But yeah, I just feel like it's a card that's just underrated. I think a lot of people don't run it. You know, they'll run all kinds of some of the other spells right now as a Lyra proc, or even just like a early Pyromancer proc, but it's not Circle of Healing just because it seems to always be associated with Aconite Soul Priest. The reality is, like, you don't have to, right? You can still use it, and I think particularly in that deck, Jackie, the Injured Blade Master is just so good too, obviously with Circle. And
yeah, I mean, Circle has so many synergies in that deck because you have Cleric, you have Pyromancer, so you have Light Warden even.
Oh my god, true. The Light Warden combo.
Yeah,
is
like
ridiculous.
I've done some crazy things with Light Warden. I've done like 19 damage with one Light Warden. And like a 1 mana card doing 19 damage. Like, that's insane.
Yes.
But it's like I've actually found Light Warden to be like a more high rolly type Tunnel Trog. Like a lot of people complained about Tunnel Trog being OP. Light Warden's kind of similar, but Light Warden's like easier to kill, but if you don't kill it, you can get even more punished. Like it can literally just do like so much crazy stuff. But yeah, Circle of Healing is just MVP in that deck, really. It's the card that gives you such good tempo plays. It gives you a 3 mana 4/7 Injured Blade Master. It gives you a million draws in one turn. Like it's really good.
Yeah.
Like I think the only. Sorry, go on, Ali.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say
No,
the only reason I was gonna say the only reason to really run Orkney is probably like the surgence of Token Shaman kind of would make Orkney good, but other than Token Shaman, there's not that many matchups other than like Token Druid where Orkney would be that useful.
Right.
I just think it works really well in Silence Priest. I mean, you've got your clerics and your acolytes, and you know that deck is focused on just sticking the minions, and I feel like being able to heal them up is like super powerful. So I think it's got a good spot in Silence Priest for sure, and Lyra, of course. We already mentioned that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the priest I mentioned last week, Kalento actually started playing it, and he made two changes to the list, and ended up getting rank 1 legend.
Oh my god! No,
what did he change?
Changes?
It's so good.
He put in a second Acolyte and 1 Potion of Madness, and he took out Priest of the Feast and something else. I can't remember what something else.
Okay, I can see.
Then he got rank 1 legend with it. Now everyone calls it Kalento Priest.
No.
Oh man, that just hurts.
Yeah.
That just hurts.
Oh, the worst.
Well, we all know. We know it's you. At least all the people listening and watching know it's you. Okay, so we have another card here, another priest card. It's just priest all around. And Jackie, I think you added this one, right? Shadow Word Horror. Destroy all minions with 2 or less attack.
Yeah, Shadow Word Horror is because I've been playing quite a lot of Control Priest, and one of the issues I've found is that you don't have enough AoE. Dragonfire Potion, is great, but at turn 6. Sometimes you can just be dead against like Aggro Druid or Token Shaman. Sometimes like the Token Shaman could have Bloodlust on turn 5 and literally just kill you, and like similar with like Token Druid. And Holy Nova is not that like there's a lot of 3 health minions. Like the Token Druid is using like Mark of Lotus and Power of the Wild to buff their minions, and Shaman has like Primal Tome and Flame Tongue Tome and Mana Tide and Thing from Loan, etc. But there's not like Holy Nova isn't a consistent board clear, I feel. Yeah. And Shadow Word Horror is actually insane against Token Shaman. It's so good against Token Shaman because they're literally just building their board up with a load of low attack minions, waiting to get value out of Flame Tongue or Bloodlust, pretty much. And so Shadow Word Horror can literally, it's just so good. Like it's actually really good. But it's one of those where it's only good in specific matchups. So it's very good against Aggro Druid. It's very good against Token Shaman. It's actually really good against Quest Warrior because obviously they have a lot of taunts with very low attack things like Alliestrasza, and stuff like that, and Bloodhoof Brave.
It's just good, yeah.
It's also not bad against Priest, things like Cleric and things like Cleric.
Yes,
yes,
and yes. No, this
elemental.
elemental.
Yeah, but the weird thing about it is that it's not like it's not consistent because it's not very good against Pirate Warrior because they always have things with like 3 or 4 attack.
Right.
And so you need to obviously you can combine it with Pint-Sized Potion, which is what I've been trying out, and I actually really like it. It's Pint-Sized Potion Shadow and Horror combo is actually insane. It's insane against like Paladin. It's insane against. It's one of Priest's only ways of dealing with 4 attack minions as well. That's constantly been a problem for Priest.
Yeah, I've been weighing those options too. I've been weighing. I mean, for just the Primordial Drakes, basically. That's the most problematic one, I think, consistently. So yeah, I've been looking at that, looking at Death, Black Knight, and Mind Control and things like that. But okay, so do you think it takes too many cards though? You know, that's the one issue I had with, you know, I think back in the day there used to be, you know, I think Priest decks just right when Pint-Sized, you know, Potion and all those cards came out, that there were the double pint sizes with the Shadow Pains and the even Cabal Shadow Priest and things like that, right? Does it take too many cards though? You know,
yeah, I think the answer is kind of, well, not as much as it used to, because one thing about, like, Priest obviously has lots of like 2-card combos for like AoE, like Orc Circle, like Pint-Sized and Shadow and Horror, and actually Shadow Visions makes it like less punishing to run combos like that, because you can find the other piece of your combo. So Shadow Visions is a big help. But yeah, the fact that you have to use 2 cards to get an AoE, I think you do have to run a significant card draw in the deck to make it work. But I really think there's potential.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say, are you running double double Shadow and Horror, and double Pint Size?
Yeah, double Horror, double Pint Size, double Shadow Priest.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. You got Pyros too?
Pyromancer. I've tried various.
I feel like I'm playing Pyromancer in everything now.
yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing card.
It's, you know, one thing I was like hoping that we would bring up one of these times, and I guess I'll just bring it up now, is like talking about what we think the best card in Hearthstone, like design card in Hearthstone is. I think Wild Pyro is one of the best design cards for me.
Wow. Pyromancer.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's kind of crazy because I never even thought of it like that, but you know, recently I'm starting to realize that it's so versatile. You know, it's used in a lot of different decks. Nobody ever complains about that card. It's just a good card. I mean,
not yet, at least. Not yet.
Yeah. And you think about it, it does a lot. I mean, it has a crazy, you know, I guess one aspect of a card that's well designed is it's a super powerful card. Yet nobody really complains about it. I mean, which is crazy.
Very true.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to think of like my answer to one of the best designed cards in Hearthstone. I've like gone on a
I know, so we should do that.
We should do that.
I kind of spoiled it, at least my pick for it. But I was thinking about that this week, and it's just like, man, I really appreciate this card. This card's so good as a control player.
No, I definitely agree with you for sure. It can be put into so many different decks as well, you know, and I think that's what makes it so powerful.
It fixes a lot of issues too, like swipe, for instance, right? Like it just allows for certain spells. It allows for every spell just to be better. It's an upgrade to every single spell.
Yeah, it also allows potentially allows classes that don't have much AoE to have AoE. So like in the past, I've actually played Warrior Pyromancer and Hunter, and it's actually been pretty cool in like slower Hunter decks. Like it is cool because it's a card that allows like lots of different archetypes that you might not normally think of, and allows really good combos. Like with the in Warrior with what's the card that keeps it alive called?
Oh god, the keeps it at 1 health.
Oh, the
Commanding Shout?
Yeah, Commanding Shout.
Commanding Shout.
Yeah, got it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like
those
things like
combos.
Commanding Shout allows you to do like crazy like warriors in one warrior, and then obviously you can do crazy things in Priest by buffing its health over and over. But then if you're not playing a deck that can buff it or keep it alive, then it's only ever going to get maximum 2.
Yeah.
Lots of damage.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Like there is like limitations with it. So it's definitely a well balanced card, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, and I've just been using it a ton. Like I feel like every single control deck I like add it. It's like one of the first cards I add just to help with Shaman and things like that. Okay, well I think that's going to be it for our underrated cards segment here, and want to remind everybody that this show, Value Town, or just our show, is supported by all the great patrons out there that support the show. You can become a patron too if you go to patreon.com/valuetown. Take a look there. We recently recorded a new video with the 2 of them, or just the 3 of us added to it. So It's okay. We might have to redo it again. We're just so like we weren't loose and just loosey goosey like we normally are for some odd reason. So, anyways, take a look at it. Check it out. There's some cool milestones, rewards, and again, supporting the show. Any like amount will help the show. Like $1, a quarter, any of those type of things helps us continue to do the show. This episode is also sponsored by Game Coach. Game Coach is a coaching website for various games like League of Legends, CS:GO. Whoa, what is that?
That would be me.
Okay.
I might have to mute myself here.
All right. No, but Game Coach is a coaching site that you can get coaching on various games like CS:GO, League of Legends, Hearthstone, of course, and Overwatch too. And you just go to it and find a coach that you want to try out. There's actually 5 or 6 Hearthstone coaches you can give that you can reach out to, and they have obviously different rates. You can use the promo code Value Town and get 10% off today too. But yeah, so big thanks to Game Coach for doing that. They're awesome, and they can they've definitely continued to sponsor the show, which is amazing because we need some more folks supporting content like our show. All right, let's see. The next thing we've got on the list here is a big topic that's been being discussed amongst a lot of the streamers, a lot of the big streamers and personalities in the community, and that topic is one about just viewership for Hearthstone and it dropping. And it started with Hafu posting a Twitter link that had an image of a lot of the top streamers in Hearthstone, and just it just showed the graphs of their total views just going down, I guess, for like recently. Let me actually bring that up real quick, and then we can take a look at it. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, so she posted this, and this base. I think her tweet actually had. Let's see what her tweet was. Her tweet was a little concerning for the viewership of Play Hearthstone, the love of the game, but think we need more frequent updates, charts of the past 30 days. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. Obviously, these are 6 of the top streamers we have. You guys being streamers too, I figured this would be great to get your perspectives since you guys are full-time streamers. So what do you guys think? Have you guys experienced a drop in views in the last 30 days?
I think I want to say that firstly, I think it's like massively overstated. I think when an expansion first comes out, the viewership is definitely going to go up, and over time it will gradually go down again. And then a new expansion will come out and it'll go up again. Also, Gwent has come out recently, and more people have started playing Gwent recently, and some competitive Hearthstone players have moved towards Gwent, and so I think naturally some of the followers of these streamers, people like Life Coach, they'll maybe transition to Gwent, or people who are getting into Gwent and maybe going from Hearthstone to Gwent. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I think that is bound to happen. And I think it's actually good for Hearthstone to have some kind of competition, like another card game that's potentially becoming popular. I think that could actually only be good, and could some kind of competition going on could be good.
Yeah, I feel like Gwent's kind of the shiny new toy right now, and that's totally fine. I think shiny new toys are good. But I will say, like you asked, have we noticed a difference? And I will say, I think it's probably worth noting that Jackie and I were featured on the Blizzard client.
Yep.
So our numbers are a little skewed due to
your
that
numbers
promotion.
are like this instead.
Yeah, so it's a little different. But yeah, see, I mean, it was really, really interesting, all of the conversation that kind of came from it between all of the streamers. So I thought it was fantastic to see everyone's different opinions. I would kind of erred on the side of the spikes are normal. And I think that the overall kind of Hearthstone viewership is not in a terrible spot. It's just kind of normal after expansions come out to kind of see these dips. And this kind of led into a lot of conversation about, what streamers can do to sort of keep content interesting. And, a lot of people were like, well, there's only so much you can do. A lot of people were on that side. There's arena and there's ladder, and what else is there besides that? And I definitely think there is room for innovation from streamers for sure. But at the same time, I also, like, for me as a streamer myself, I question, like, all right, well, if I'm not going to grind ladder today or play arena, like, what am I going to do? So, you know,
Yeah. Well, one thing to show too is because, you know, you're obviously referencing the cyclical aspect of it, and you know, Brian Kibler posted an image of his, I guess, viewership graph from the last 2 years. And this is in the same thread as the Hafu one. So you can see clearly that it's a cycle, right? Like the spikes are when the expansions come out, and then you kind of see it go down, and then it kind of spikes up again right when the expansion comes out, and then it kind of comes down again. So if anything, the Angoro one has been higher generally, right? The spike is higher, and then even the come down is higher too, right?
Right. That means the dip would be higher if the spike's higher.
Yeah.
I personally think Angoro was like one of the best expansions they've ever had. So, you know, I'm not surprised that the numbers went up dramatically. And so, yeah, exactly. I think it's a cycle, and I think a lot of, I don't know, I guess a lot of people overreact a little bit, because I think in general Hearthstone's still in a really good spot. You know, like Blizzard, you know, announced they had 70 million, you know, active
accounts,
people playing active accounts. You know, so I don't think the game is quote dying. You know, as I've seen some people say, but I think that's a bit of a dramatic statement. Yeah, a bit of an extreme statement. So.
Okay, yeah, I don't think it's dying. I think it's clear that there's a cycle to it, and I will say that I feel like the length of the engagement, you know, after expansions now are, you know, pretty short. I mean, Angoro again was one of the best, so you know, we probably experienced a longer one this last one, but you know, generally speaking, the last year and a half, you know, it doesn't last that much, you know, and it brings up the same question that we always have, which is, you know, Blizzard changing some things at a higher frequency. So we had that discussion, which I think we've had many discussions on that. I think we all agree that they should do that. This is another data point that would help, you know, with these type of declines, and just keeping Hearthstone's average or you know, just how they rank in the viewership a much more constant thing than just these kind of peaks and valleys constantly. So that would help, you know, no question. I mean, brand new releases, obviously, I mean, Crypt gets like 100,000 viewers or something the day that it comes out. So if that happened more frequently, and for you guys too, you're trickling to everybody, you know, we wouldn't have you know, these long gaps or these long valleys, right? Another thing too is, you know, what you alluded to, Allie, is just that there is talk, and I would say like Frodan's been mentioning it the most out of everybody about innovation. And you know, the valleys don't have to be as, you know, the bottom end of the valleys don't have to be maybe as low, or it just doesn't have to stay there as long if there were some more innovations. And I think it kind of brings up the question of whether, you know, do we need more innovation in Hearthstone? And then, you know, can you see streaming in Hearthstone lasting another 5-10 years, you know, if we don't innovate? You know, we just continue doing the same thing, which is, you know, like Crypt just turns on his camera and just plays arena, you know, or he plays constructed, and he's our top streamer.
And a lot of people still love it, though. I mean, like 20,000 people go to sleep watching Crypt every night.
Right. You know, right. But I mean, will that last? You know, another 5-10 years? That's the real question. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's partly based on what Blizzard does. If Blizzard suddenly brings out some terrible expansions and ruins the game, then no, it probably won't. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think the last expansion was really good, and I think if the upcoming expansions stay on the same level, then I think the Hearthstone streaming can continue for a long time. And I mean, streaming is basically just like, can you are you giving people what they want to see? Like, people want to be entertained. People want to watch people playing the games they enjoy. If people are still enjoying Hearthstone and still want to see people play at the highest level or come up with new ideas that they can try themselves, then people are still going to watch streams. So as long as we keep being creative and keep trying new things and have some streamers that keep playing at the highest level, then I don't see why it should die.
I think things like the heroic brawls really attract a lot of people, and so I think maybe, you know,
events,
more things like that. And a couple of weeks ago, I don't think it was last episode, but we talked about tournament mode. You know, maybe new introductions like that, you know, could really could really boost viewership. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Jackie's right. Unless they really mess something up, I do think that they're, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people still wanting to watch Hearthstone. And hopefully streamers can find ways to innovate more, I suppose.
Yeah, in the end, a lot of this game streams and streamers and watching the streamers, it's like a reality show. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best way I can explain it, at least with Crip and streamers like that. They just want to see Crip, and hang out with Crip and watch anything interesting happen on his stream or just with him and what he might say and things like that. It's more so that than just the overall production of the stream. And I think that will always be there. There will always be some element of that. But part of me just thinks that we'll have to innovate as just the general Twitch space needs to innovate. Whether that's just more tools, like, Twitch is starting to introduce these almost like annotation or overlay type of tools that you can use on your stream, right? Like the viewers can click on stuff, right? And there's a Hearthstone one that's in particular, and they seem to be developing more and more of those. And some of you guys are any of you guys in that beta program, like getting a chance to try it?
We are. I think Jackie and I both are in the click beta. Oh, chat loves it. They love clicking on options that we give them.
Yeah, you let them pick their arena run for you, or if you have a they pick the Discover and they always pick the worst one. They love it.
Exactly, right? And some people have done things like their own coin system, and cheer system and all those type of things, right, in their chat. And those are the types of things I'm talking about. Like, I think more and more of those things will need to be integrated, and hopefully Twitch will, again, provide more things for all the channels. But if it's just like literally a camera on and you just playing the game, I think that will run out. I think a lot of folks that do that will fall behind, to the others that are trying to add more tech to their stream.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because you're kind of going a different route, saying it's not it doesn't need to just be the streamer or the game developers. It could also just be Twitch, itself. And I think it's kind of hard to tell where Twitch will be in 5 to 10 years. Like, it's still growing and it's still so new. I think there are a lot of different things that could happen. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where we're at in like 10 years.
We're starting to finally see features added to Twitch, which is nice. There were like a couple years where they added nothing. Like, they literally gave us nothing. It's just maybe like a partner program and things like that. But for the most part, feature-wise, they didn't give us anything. Now, we're starting to see feeds. We're starting to see, they have this whole event system now, and then these overlay things that I'm talking about. It seems like that group, whatever group that is, that product group, is starting to work, a lot more on doing that. Even the subscribers, right? We have like another tier of subscriber, levels now. I mean, I remember when, Destiny, who's, Steven, one of my co-hosts for Unfiltered, I mean, he was doing his own thing with like multi-tiered subscribers forever. Forever. And I don't feel like it was like anything that would have been that hard for Twitch to do. So whatever's kind of change is happening to the Twitch feature or the tweet that product group, they're doing a much better job now of providing that kind of stuff. But again, like, we can do we can do more too. I mean, things like, I'll just throw out my example, right? Streamer Showdown, right? That's something that you can do. Like, if you're able to, or have the know-how to do it. But you can do that, like a smaller versions of that kind of thing on your stream too. So it's a matter of like people, really digging into that and trying to figure out how to do stuff like that. Yeah,
I think like one of the streaming is definitely growing, and one of the main things people like about it is that the fact that they can be interactive with it and more engaged rather than watching a TV program. You can actually have some involvement. And I don't think there's anything wrong with change. I don't think people do want to see the same thing over and over again for years. I think it's natural or normal to change, and you kind of probably need to change, like Twitch and the streamers themselves, to grow and continue to grow. Like, you've said you've got your Streamer Showdown. I've got my Wacky Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly.
I've started doing recently, where on a Wednesday I literally just play decks suggested by my viewers, and so that's kind of their day when they can have their input, and they're basically deciding what I'm playing for the whole stream. And I think that's I really like that kind of thing, and it gives the viewers more engagement themselves, which is good, I think.
I definitely think there's a lot of things that can still be done. It's just easy to get complacent with Hearthstone because the two biggest modes are just ladder and arena. But yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of room to grow in terms of innovation. This is interesting. I don't know. This is an odd question, but I wonder how much Blizzard cares about this because basically the game still goes on without people streaming it. They still get people playing it. It's still incredibly huge. So I wonder, do they look at the dips in the Twitch viewership and really panic, or are they like, things are still going strong with us, it's a separate thing. I'm not sure.
I feel like they do care. It's just
how much
it's
really,
not like
yeah.
I mean, it's not like top priority for sure, right? I mean, top priority is really just the revenue that's being generated, and that's all they care about. But perception, definitely, the community team, I would guess that's like their job is to really, try to help with the perception of Hearthstone. The esports team obviously cares about how the competitive side of Hearthstone is being viewed too. So those teams, I think, obviously utmost importance, but I think overall with Hearthstone, it is secondary on the list of things. So I don't think that doesn't mean that they don't care. That just means
of
that,
course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they do. It's more just how much. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think you like YouTube and Twitch streaming are it's basically like advertising for the game for Blizzard and getting a community involved in the game and kind of spreading more Hearthstone content being created is probably going to generate more people being interested in the game, more people playing the game, and essentially more revenue. So
right. And
so I think they would obviously like for the viewers to be as high as possible and to get as much interest in the game as possible.
Yeah, it's like a metric for, when I look at things like esports and just community and viewership for streams and things like that, I look at all those things as ways to, it's like retention, right? It's like to keep people interested in the game, not necessarily getting new users. It's about just retaining the users. And these type of things, and a lot of games are realizing that with esports is a way to just continue or at least elongate the longevity of each of these games, right? Like if say League of Legends, right? If it didn't have esports, I mean, it's probably still be popular, but obviously esports helps with that. Like the marketing that you said, Jackie, continues to market it, continues to make it feel like this game is relevant, right? And if it's relevant, I should be playing it. And it's that type of feeling, and it's that type of just that kind of feeling with the population and the usership that they want. And I think it's worked. It's worked with a lot of the bigger, like League of Legends, I feel like is a big part. Dota 2 also. I think the competitive side of Dota 2 is a big reason why a lot of people are super interested in it. CSGO, same thing. So yeah, I think that's a big thing. So one thing I want to ask you guys too is that with being a streamer, right, and especially streaming Hearthstone, how much of streaming and how much of maybe a lack of wanting to do something different, and I felt this a little bit even on this show, like having to do stuff consistently, having to do it every day, how much of the lack of innovation is because of that? Like the fact that you have to put, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and you just don't have time to even come up with and think about stuff to do new.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a lot. I'm like, what exactly is the question?
Yeah. I mean, basically, how much of it is lack of time to actually come up with creative ways to do things?
For me, lack of time is very relevant. I'm trying to really work on my YouTube channel and get a video out every single Friday, and so I stream for 6 hours, usually 6 hours 5 times a week. So yeah, it does come down to time. And like I said, I guess sometimes it's easy for me to get complacent because I have my strategy for what I'm like, oh, well, I need to hit legend, and so I spend a lot of my month, up until I hit legend, kind of just concerning myself with that, which I think takes away from, thinking of something interesting or new to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Jackie, do you?
I actually disagree. I don't think time is. I think like as a streamer, you kind of have your times when your schedule or whatever, or the times when you're going to stream, and you put a lot of hours into it. But at the same time, you can kind of like, I'm like constantly thinking about new things to try and do, or maybe potentially do. And if I really wanted to try something, or spend some time to be innovative and do something different, I could easily like probably like stream a bit less hours and focus on something else rather than kind of.
Well, that's good. Because, I mean, it's good.
I think it's just about kind of forcing yourself to do it, rather than kind of. It's easy to kind of stay in a routine and keep doing the same thing day after day. It's kind of hard to make a change and be radical.
Yeah, no, that's cool that you do that, because I think a lot of streamers fall into that, you know, that kind of cycle or that lull, because, you know, there's that sense that I don't want to stop streaming 8 hours a day, or else I'm going to fall out of relevance. You know, like my streaming numbers are just going to go down or my subs are going to go down because I'm not streaming 8 hours, or I'm only streaming 4 hours versus 8 hours. You know, you have that type of mentality. So it's good that you think that, you know, you just force yourself sometimes to kind of go through those periods where you try to think of some cool stuff.
I do think that if you're producing like new and interesting content, even if you were to chop, you know, 2 hours off of your stream, I still think you'd see a lot of success. You know, like people want new stuff, and if you're providing that, I think eventually the people will come.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that, like, even though I say I've spent lots of time thinking about doing new things and making that, like, stuff, I haven't made that many changes. Like, I am one of these people who doesn't get in a routine and stay in a routine, and every now and then I've done different things, but I would actually like to be more innovative, and I would like to
same
try doing stuff, and it's I think it's just about kind of being in the right mindset and being prepared to take a risk, essentially, because doing something different is essentially taking a risk. Like, if you say stream a bit less Hearthstone and put more time into something else, like, you could lose a lot of your viewers, which could affect your career, and like, so it is a risk, really. But,
yeah, and a very normal example of that is some of the Hearthstone streamers playing a different game, like PUBG or things like that, right? And you kind of see that decision. But okay, anyways, we'll wrap up that topic. I felt like that was a good one, particularly, you know, with you guys, given that you guys are streamers, and it's a good topic, and it's a different way of looking at the whole Blizzard should come out with stuff more frequently. Okay, well, I want to give a shout out to some of the patrons, you know, obviously that support the show each and every week. You know, it's the part of the show that we get a chance to spend a little bit of time, you know, just to give a shout out to some of you guys out there. So I want to give a shout out to Mike T, who's our legendary producer every week, and then a few others: Ed H, Anthony L, David H, Davin P, Louise L, Vince F, Alex F, Mike H, Mike V, and Eric F. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. Some of these guys have been supporting the show for years, so it's really, really awesome that they can you know, just continue doing that for us. Also, again, Game Coach is sponsoring this episode of Value Town, and Game Coach is a coaching website. You can go to game-coach.com and check it out. Here's a trailer that we made for them, so check it out. Here at Game Coach, we have a variety of games such as League of Legends, Hearthstone, CSGO, Overwatch, and many more to come in the future. When you have picked a game of your liking, simply choose one of our fantastic coaches by clicking on his or her profile. Here you will see background information and their calendar availability for a lesson. Starting a lesson is super easy. Coordinate with your coach and meet up on Discord, and then jump on a voice channel and begin your journey to becoming legendary. Game Coach. Just Druid. All right, well, definitely check that out, guys. And then again, use the Value Town promo code and you can get 10% off today. Gotta love discounts. I think we all love discounts, right? Okay, well, why don't we do some Mekkatorque's workshop now?